Hello, and welcome again to the Peer List Peer Talk on podcast with How to Become a Good Infosec Speaker. I'm Dean Webb, a moderator and contributor at peerlist.com, and with us today is Tanya Janca. Tanya, introduce yourself and let us know what you do.
Hi, I'm Tanya Janca, and I am a nerd who is completely obsessed with the security of software and thereby securing the cloud because a lot of software lives in the cloud. And I am an application security trainer and consultant. So I coach companies on how to, implement DevSecOps or add security to whatever they're doing, culture, security champions, all those things, and then train on those specific topics.
Okay. And how long have you been doing presentations at technical conferences and gatherings?
I started at my first OWASP meetup almost 4 years ago. In April will be 4 years of that very terrifying day.
Oh no, terrifying.
It went really well, but I was so scared.
Okay, so how can something go well but be terrifying? I think that's the best question I could ask at this point.
Well, I had been a chapter leader in Ottawa, Canada, of my chapter with the other chapter leader, Sharif, for years. But I'd never made a presentation before. And all these awesome, really great people that were part of the chapter were telling me I should try it. And one of my professional mentors had told the entire internet that I would be speaking at B-Sides, whether I liked it or not.
Wow.
So I decided that I would practice at OWASP, and I was so afraid. Oh my gosh, Dean, seriously.
So
but then I went to go on, and I was like standing near the stage, probably looking like I was gonna melt down. And then this really nice young man named Alex came up to me and he's like, "Hey, are you ready?" And I was like, expressing that I was really nervous. And what a brilliant conversation. He's like, "Don't you understand that we love you? Like literally, we love you. You're basically our mascot, our friend, our leader, our mom. You're like everything wrapped into one. And like, you could get up there and drool on yourself and we'll still tell you it's good because you're our friend. We care about you. We want you to succeed. So like, if you get up there and you're crappy, we'll still think it's great because it's you." So
now that is highly reassuring. I like it. Does he charge by the hour?
I know, seriously. And so then I felt a lot less scared. And then, I gave the talk and I was just, a brand new web app pen tester at that point, right? And I'm like, oh, these people know more than me. And they were great. And then after, one of them took me aside, he's like, "Hey, I have an idea of how to make your talk even better." Because it turned out I'd missed something important. But it wasn't at all like, it was like said in the most gentle, caring way. And just everyone was like, "Yay." And they asked really nice softball questions. And one of them, I didn't know the answer. And I was like, "I don't know. Does anyone else know?" And so then someone else just answered. And then everyone was great. And then I went and spoke somewhere else. I was like, that was not as bad as I thought.
So is this more like, is giving these presentations, is it more like where you're starting a conversation? You're giving your idea and getting them to a Q&A period so they can think about it as well? Do you see it doing that?
I felt it was sort of like, here's this exciting thing I learned. I'm really pumped about it. I want to share this cool stuff I learned with you. I hope you like it too.
And it turns out they do. That's why they're there, right? Yeah.
So then, the people that were part of my meetup, they're like, "What if you did it for the software developers? Because they should probably know this." And so I just went to another meetup, and unbeknownst to me, being a woman, I was the only woman to have ever showed up at that Python meetup, like ever. And so then I told the host, like, "Hey, I was wondering if I could invite everyone to my security meetup, and then like maybe someday I could, we could like hack some apps together." And it's like his eyes just lit up. He's like, "Yes." And they were so great when I presented. They were just wonderful. And then I did the JavaScript meetup and Ruby meetup and the ladies code meetup. And I just did every meetup and everyone was wonderful.
So are you just getting invited to these, or did you have to ask to attend to them?
I would go, so anyone in Ottawa, I guess, like all the meetups are open, and I live in Victoria now. And if it's on meetup.com, it's usually open. We have like some more private ones where you sort of have to know someone to get invited.
Right.
Basically, I would just write them or show up and be like, hi, I'm Tanya. I'm really excited about security. You know, can I do a presentation about security? And then once I had videos of me doing talks at other places, then I could send them a video. And then it kind of grew from there. So then I had a few videos and more than one talk. And then I had a Twitter handle eventually. That took took a long time for me to bother to get social media, but it turns out it's really helpful. So then I would just send them this thing and explain like, I love DevOps. I do love DevOps. So whenever I travel somewhere, I try to speak at the OWASP chapter or the WOSEC chapter. And if they don't have one of those, then every DevOps chapter of every single city, they're like, oh yeah, we definitely want to see you smash some things in pipelines.
So basically it's just get involved at the grassroots level is what I hear you saying here.
Yeah, just ask nicely and tell them you're excited and show them. Like I listened to this book about sales and it said sales is just a transference of your feelings. And so if you're just genuinely like really excited, like when I write a new talk, I'm usually the most excited person about it. And then I just tell the meetup organizer or when I apply at a conference, if I can transfer how I feel about it, you know what I mean? Like then usually they're like, yeah, I'm excited too now. We should come have you speak at this meetup or workshop or whatever. That sounds cool.
So you mentioned earlier, like when you gave your first presentation, you had someone come up to you and give you some good feedback, some good, trying to think of the right word here, evaluation. Yeah. So that way do you see is this frequent for people to step up and try to mentor new speakers as they come on the stage?
I think it really depends. So the OWASP chapter in Ottawa, it's a really close-knit community. Like I remember someone from out of town came from a different OWASP chapter and they're like, are those people hugging? I'm like, yeah, we're excited. We haven't seen each other in like 4 weeks.
Okay.
And he was so surprised. He's like, everyone's smiling. They're all shaking hands. Like people are embracing. I'm like, yeah, that's what OWASP is. Or like, that's my experience.
So, yeah, your mileage may vary basically.
Yeah. So what we started doing is trying really, really hard to encourage new speakers. So at the beginning of our meetups, we would have someone come on and just give a little lightning talk. And everyone sort of knows this is not a seasoned speaker. You know, it's not going to be amazing, but we need to encourage them and give them feedback and help them become an awesome speaker. And we also would directly mentor people or review their slides, or even sometimes let them come to, if we're friends, come to our house and present it to us, or present it to us on the internet or something, and give them improvement ideas of how to make it even better.
Right. Yeah. Because I've definitely been able to enjoy some of that as I got started with speaking, was how, a different, the one conference I was doing B-Sides, they actually assigned me a mentor. And I thought that was a great thing to do there to help me get ready for the audience, because this is someone who's experienced there. And I just find that I mean, from what you're saying, it seems like it's the same way, that the IT community in general is supportive and helpful, and we want to see things work, right? So
it turns out every audience ever wants you to succeed. Like,
Yeah.
no one's going to a conference talk and they're like, I hope this guy messes it up. I hope she's awful. Like, everyone wants you to be good, right?
Yeah.
And there might be someone who kind of picks a fight with you, but that is 1 in 1,000. And usually conference organizers are pretty good during question period of moderating those things. And if not, I have some tips and tricks that we could discuss later if you want.
Well, that would be definitely something to consider. Now, one thing I do want to know is, okay, so you're going around. This is 4 years. About how many presentations do you do per year, and about how much do you travel for your presentations?
So last year I was working for Microsoft and I was a
Hmm.
cloud advocate. And what that meant
Okay.
was making lots of cool stuff out of Azure, smashing it because I do security, breaking things,
Hmm.
building them, breaking them again, and then showing it off. You're creating workshops and all of that. So
Hmm.
I would say that I presented, I don't know, at least 60 times.
Okay.
However, like sometimes 2 or 3 times in the same day, because I went on something called Microsoft Ignite the Tour. And
Right.
so they did like this free tour around the world. And I did, I think, like 9 different countries. And you would do a whole bunch of presentations. And then I'm me. So I'm like, oh my
Mhm.
gosh, there's an OWASP chapter here. Obviously, I also have to present there. Or like, oh my gosh, there's a WOSEC chapter. Like, let's get together and hang out.
So you're already doing like basically you are the booth for the vendor presentation, but then on your spare time, you don't go clubbing, you go to an OWASP meeting.
Yeah, because those are my people.
Yeah. Oh, I totally
I
get it. I totally get it. Yeah.
like when I meet an OWASP leader and we're both outside our city, it's like, oh, good. At least I know for sure I have a friend here, if that makes
Yeah.
any sense. And WOSEC, Women of Security, like, oh, it's so cool to show up and like there's just this room full of ladies and they all want to hang out and tell me stories and make me laugh. And it's pretty nice.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's good to know for if you're getting started that you can go, that there are a lot of good experiences outside of your town that if you do have to travel for business, go and visit, go and meet.
Oh, yeah.
Um, get, get so really, how many presentations are you giving independently of what you have to do for business?
Um, well, so I don't work at Microsoft anymore. So
Hmm.
now I am solo.
Okay.
So I'm starting a training company or whatever, but I would say I do maybe 2 a month now. So I just
Hmm.
moved to a new city, Victoria, in beautiful
Hmm.
British Columbia, Canada. And so, I mean, I tend to present at least one meetup per month here because
Hmm.
they are not sick of me at all yet.
Oh, good, good.
Because I want to make new friends. And it works really well. I created a WOSEC chapter. I made all sorts of nice new girlfriends. And then
Mhm.
we're opening our own OWASP chapter, which is awesome. And then we have just a ton of different meetups. I'm like, well, obviously I need to present at all of them.
Almost, you tempt me to become a developer.
Oh, well, I was a
Yeah.
developer for 17 years before I
Yeah.
switched to security. So seriously, yeah.
Well, I'm on the network side, so I said almost, but we're still scared of you guys. But no, seriously though. So what are some things then that you've seen in different conferences where have you been able to find if there's like a format that people seek or if there's something that they wish more presenters would do? Do you have anything like that you'd be able to pass on to our listeners?
Oh my gosh, yes. So I'm going to try not to just use up the rest of the time. So first of all, say your name slowly at the beginning, especially if your name isn't John Smith.
Mm.
Say your name clearly, because if we love your presentation, we probably want to follow you or learn more about you or see or read other material from you, right? So
Mhm.
say your name clearly at the beginning and the end. Um, Speak very clearly and at a reasonable pace. Speak intentionally. I'm lucky because I used to be an actress and a musician, so I have had lots of voice coaching. But
Mm-hmm.
you would not believe how many people will go to a different country and then you have an accent, right? So I'm Canadian,
Yeah.
and when I go to America, especially apparently if I have a drink or if I feel
Mm-hmm.
very, very strongly about something. So, for instance, when I talk about multi-factor authentication,
Oh, yeah.
apparently my Canadian accent becomes stronger. And so wherever I travel outside of Canada, I have an accent and I have to remember that and make sure that I speak extra clearly. Like, so for instance, I spoke in Korea, and
Mm-hmm.
English is their second or third language.
Right.
And so I knew I needed to take my presentation, throw out one third of it, and then slow down to make it the same length of time, because I wanted to make sure I didn't lose most of the audience, right?
It's being aware that international English is not the same as our native English, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, I understand, I can speak fluent French, but seeing a technical presentation in French is highly challenging for me. And if the
Yes.
person's going to use lots of colloquialisms and speak really quickly, I'm doomed.
Yeah.
And so I try to think, imagine when someone's speaking French and they're giving a technical presentation, try really hard. Um, Also, I think that a lot of people assume the audience knows lots and lots of stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and that is damaging for anyone that's new. And the first time I went to an application security conference, I'd been a developer forever, but I didn't know AppSec. And it's like I walked around with my mouth open, and I remember just not understanding most of the presentations at all. And then
Mm-hmm.
feeling like, oh, I'm so dumb. But
Well, then, if you have an advanced topic, a lot of people are going to think, well, how am I going to be able to present this advanced topic in the time I have if I've got to cover basics?
so I give a bunch of talks that I would say are pretty advanced.
Mm-hmm.
So for instance, I have one that's about modernizing application security. And so when I talk about, for instance, serverless and logic apps, not everyone knows what they are. So I spend 1 minute explaining what they are,
Okay.
and then I explain how to secure them. So I'm like, a logic app is a trigger, basically, and it just triggers a serverless app. So it's just like a way of calling it. So this action happens, the logic app triggers the serverless app. That's it. And once
Okay.
you say that, like that took under 30 seconds probably, then
Mm-hmm.
all the people that didn't know what a logic app is now know what it is. And I'm like, I like to make logic apps for all these different types of security events. And then I write a custom serverless app to respond to that problem. So, okay, this looks like SQL injection. If it feels strongly enough that it triggers the trigger, well, I'm just gonna black hole that IP or whatever the
Mm-hmm.
appropriate security response for where you work.
But it sounds like from what you're saying, it doesn't take that long to lay the foundation, and then you can go into that advanced topic afterward.
Yeah, for me,
Mm-hmm.
that's how I do it. A lot of people thank me, especially new people. A lot of people will tell me, like, honestly, I didn't know what a container was before, and I felt too stupid to
Mm-hmm.
put up my hand and ask. But then you explained it, and it
Right.
was so easy. But I've been to talks where, for instance, they'll use an acronym and they never explain what the acronym is the whole talk, and then I feel dumb.
Oh,
Or
yeah.
they just launch in as though you know a whole ton, and I'm like, I don't know, like, couldn't you give like some sort of, like, if you have a 40-minute talk, can you not spend 2 minutes saying, okay, so this is what an IoT device is? It's a device that's internet connected. And then, a medical implant is a thing that's implanted in your body. And then a medical IoT implant is a thing that's put in your body for a medical reason, but then it's connected to the internet.
And then
Obviously, terror ensues.
yeah, one Venn diagram, you've got it covered, and then you can
Yeah.
keep going into it rather than saying, all right, so with the DICOM traffic we have here, like what?
Yeah.
Whoops, sorry,
And
another acronym. Sorry, I got to introduce that too. So.
I really want new people to join our industry. And I
Mm-hmm.
feel like, so I switched from software development to security. And
Mm-hmm.
in software development, I almost never I never encountered gatekeepers in the way I have in the security industry. And kind of this, like, you have to be this smart to ride this ride, and otherwise just go away and no one wants you. And,
Mm-hmm.
people talking above your head kind of intentionally. maybe, and I'm not sure exactly where that comes from, but in software development, it was very rare. I found, I don't know, I found like the personalities I encountered more often were different in software development compared to security, especially in the red teaming area of security. Sometimes like personalities are more abrasive, or even sometimes like a bit arrogant. And in software development, that just wasn't my experience, right? And so as a new person, if you're experiencing like people that are arrogant or like that are talking above your head or just like don't want to help you, like that's not gonna help bridge our resource gap.
Right.
And it's a less fun place to work, in my opinion. So I'd rather create this, like, you know, if someone is like a super veteran in AppSec, maybe they don't want to come to my talk, and that's cool. But there's way more new people than veterans.
Exactly. So, you know, a lot of people may look at the presenter and think, wow, the glamour, the fame, I want to be that guy. I want the spotlight on me. Is that really what this is about?
I get a lot of hugs.
Yeah. Okay. So, okay. You do get that. But I mean, I'm looking at where, like, you know, some people could look at a big rock act or a big stand-up comedy act and think, wow, fame and fortune await me if I could just get on that stage. Is this that stage? The tech conference presenter gig?
So I make a lot more money doing security than I did when I was a musician.
Okay.
So that's definitely true. But I was a software developer when I was a musician. And I made more as a software developer than as a musician as well. And I think the answer here is not that, is that being an artist doesn't usually pay well.
Right. Well, and I think from what you're saying is that this really isn't where you want to do it for the fame. You're talking about this as joining communities.
Yeah. So I would be lying if I said that I did not enjoy being on stage. I'm an extrovert, and I have been on stage since the moment I was an adult and I was legal to do so. I have worked in tech, and I've been on stage like as an actress, as a musician, briefly doing comedy, but mostly lately doing public speaking. So like I love being the center of attention. Like I would be totally pretending if I said that wasn't true. But part of the reason that I love it is because I love making people smile. I love making people happy. I love making people laugh. I love making people learn stuff. Like that moment where, like, if I'm in a workshop and then I coach someone, so I like to not give the answers. I like to kind of gently push people until they get it, with which some people find annoying, but some people appreciate. And then the moment like that they end up, you know, like breaking the thing or fixing the thing, and then their face lighting up. I'm just like, oh my gosh, it's like being high. It feels so good.
It is.
That you have like helped this person reach. I'm just like, yes.
Exactly. I mean, I used to be a teacher, and I know what it's like doing that for very low pay or no pay at all. And you still do it. You still do it because it's, I mean, would you say there's something beautiful?
Yes, okay. So helping people makes me happy, and and that is I feel a great trait. So then I get something from it, if that makes sense. I do a lot of things for free in that aspect. I mentor a lot of women, and I speak for free a lot and give workshops for free a lot, and then I charge companies money.
Yes.
So I do a lot of things for the community and for individuals, but companies have money, and therefore I would like to have some of it if I'm going to come in and make a big positive difference for them, if that makes sense.
Right.
So I try to share a lot, and also like the community has given me so much. So I had a professional mentor, and he dragged me into security. I wanted to stay a software developer. And then another professional mentor dragged me onto the stage, basically. And then I have new professional mentors now who are helping me start my own company to do training and all of those things. And I have so many members of the community, like, who are professionals, who are helping with every single aspect because they're like, I want to see you go kick ass and take names. And so, a lot of people see things that I do that are very public, and that's cool, but there's all these people behind the scenes that also perform lots and lots of good, and they're kind of invisible, but they're also part of this fabric that makes InfoSec work.
Okay. Well, I think that's a great way to wrap it up there. And thank you again. With us, this has been a Peerless Peer Talk on how do I become a InfoSec speaker. And we've been speaking with Tanya Janca here. And we want to thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
And we'll have this on the Peerless site when it is. You'll be able to offer comments and questions, and we will be able to respond to you. So for Peerless, I'm Dean Webb saying cheers for now.